Aggressively Casual.
Welcome everybody to Aggressively Casual episode 10. My god, we've done 10 of these already. I, as always, am your host, Freebird. With me to my internet left, as always, is Cheeks. Say hi, Cheeks.
Hello.
So it's been an interesting couple of weeks for me in this household. The kid got really sick. Strep and RSV. He's an overachiever.
Go big or go home.
Right. So it's been a long. Last week was a long week. A very long week. But I did get some time playing Aloft. I did a stream of that last week, which is a wonderful game.
It is a nice little, at least at the moment, fairly casual survival game.
Yeah, it's a nice little. I'm gonna use the buzzword that they use in their thing, cozy survival game.
Which is ironic because it's kind of exactly how we described it when we played it. This is cozy, and then I was looking at the stream at Steam and like, oh look, they even say it's cozy. So mission accomplished.
Right, and oddly enough, I posted the VOD of that over to YouTube, and that went gangbusters. So I really want to play that again and enjoy that. I'm also playing a game I can't talk about.
Right.
Which is
game I'm playing that I can't talk about.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Other than that, I watched.
Pretty soon we'll be able to talk about it.
I think so too. I watched a lot of content on the Assassin's Creed Shadows, the like playthrough embargo NDAs dropped.
I've seen conflicting opinions
on
that game.
That's the thing is, I've seen really, really good, I've seen really, really bad, and I've seen a bunch in between. It's really interesting how this one, from what they played, about anywhere between, it seems like 3 to 8 hours, depending on which experience you were at. It sounds like the remote guided sessions were about 3 to 4 hours, and the hands-on at Ubisoft was about 6 to 8 hours. So it really is interesting seeing the different opinions and seeing some people who I really enjoy watching have conflicting opinions where it makes me want to experience the game for myself, because
there are two particular streamers that I tend to watch, and they are pretty much on opposite ends of the spectrum on this game.
Yeah.
One of them's like, this is pretty good. It turns out it's okay. I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game. And the other one is I tapped out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I watched that video. That's right. But like,
I think the end result is, well, it's an Assassin's Creed game in pretty much the standard vein of what has become Assassin's Creed. Whether or not it'll be a good game remains to be seen.
Right.
Whether or not I'll even play it remains to be seen, because I'm a little leery to give Ubisoft money these days.
That's the thing. Is the thing that interests me about the game is that they seem to have gone more the Odyssey direction, and I loved Odyssey.
Which is good, but at the same time, you kind of need to go back to more like the Assassin's Creed 2 direction.
Well, right, but they tried that with Mirage and failed.
They tried that with Mirage because they tried it with a half-assed what was supposed to be a DLC. They didn't really try.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
fair.
They fucking went here. This is back to the old ways, and people were like, "This is a DLC. You're milking us for a full fucking price for, is what this is."
Right. Well, which is the same thing that happened with Call of Duty last year, Modern Warfare 3. That was supposed to be a DLC, or 2 years ago now. That was supposed to be a DLC. Ended up being a full-fledged game. And yikes. And the weird thing is, we've just kind of wandered into our topic for the evening talking about all this.
Have.
So, you and I have talked offline a lot, and we talk offline every day, let's be real here. But the interesting thing for me is seeing the state of AAA gaming and these titans of the industry that used to be the ipso facto, you have to play their games if you want the best experience. you had to play whatever game was coming out from these companies, and you wanted to play those games because they were good for the most part. For the most part,
right.
I mean, nobody sets out to make a bad game.
Even the ones that
This isn't the producers. We're not out to make a flop instead of a hit.
Argue that these days. I present to you Exhibit A the day before, Exhibit B Kinfall.
The day before was vaporware they actually put out as a game. That's all it was.
All I'm saying is they set out. You can make an argument that they set out to make a bad game and they succeeded.
Hey, Cannadoni, welcome back, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
But yes, you even back in the day, even some of the games that were like they weren't great.
Yeah.
But they were still really good.
Yeah.
Which back then games could be really good and be considered a success, which is a topic we've discussed already.
Yeah, we've beaten that topic to death.
I'm sure we will again,
and I'm sure it'll come up a bit tonight. So my thing is that, like, seeing these titans of the industry, right? These companies where you had to play their games or wanted to play their games, to see them coming to a head of questions of relevancy and questions of budget and questions
of solvency
and just all these questions that are surrounding and permeating what is happening with the games industry and how indie game development and what I guess you could call AA development, right? The B tier of companies are kind of creeping their way up into this tier that nobody ever thought they would reach. I mean, look at Kingdom Come Deliverance. Did you ever play that game?
Wait, the shit out of that game.
Kingdom Come Deliverance went from a nowhere and shot out of a fucking cannon. Went from a nowhere nothing nobody title to one of the best immersive simulation games I've ever played.
But technically, that's how all of these companies got there.
Fair.
They had a game that was nobody really. It's not that they didn't think it was gonna be a hit, but they didn't think it was gonna be that big of a hit.
Right. Well, now Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I watched Co-Carnage's 3-hour playthrough that he did with the devs. Holy fuck! That game shot up my list so fast. The only problem is
the game's been on my list because again I played the crap out of Kingdom Come.
Yeah, but the only problem is, when the fuck am I going to have time to play it?
Well, sure, there is that. The good thing is it's a single player game, so
right.
There's no FOMO there.
Exactly. You can pick it up and put it there, and that's the thing I liked about the first one with Kingdom Come. Not to get off subject, but the first thing about Kingdom Come is that you could pick it up and put it down as you saw fit.
Right.
And there was no pressure to keep playing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so
AAA games and mid last week, early last week.
Yeah.
Belluar. How the hell have you pronounce it?
Oh, Bellular.
Bellular, yeah. Bellular News put out a video about this very topic that just proved literally proved with hard numbers what we've been saying, and I distinctly remember I've said it on here, and we've talked about this, how with subscription services and the way they're working, the budgets are too fucking big, and they are not making their money back.
Well,
Ubisoft is hemorrhaging money. Microsoft, the Game Pass, and there's tons of news over these last couple weeks where the Game Pass itself is not a winning proposition for Xbox.
Right. So from what I've read, Game Pass has cannibalized 80% of game sales.
Right.
That's insane.
But then you have companies that are doing it to themselves, like Ubisoft, because Ubisoft Plus does the same thing.
Right.
Because now, instead of selling you this game for, $60 or $70, which that's a whole other monkey, whether or not they're worth that, hint, they're not.
Right.
But now I can just pay you $15. I can play that for a month and then go away, or I can go play something else if I want to. But still, now you take several months to get to that same price point that earlier, well, you're going to get in a single purchase, right?
Let's see here.
5 months just to get back to that. Technically, a little over 4.5, but
yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Let's see. The thing is, most indie
no company is in this not to make money either.
Right.
So every game is a marketing tool. I'm going to address this point here.
Well, hold on.
Every game is a marketing tool.
For those of you who aren't watching the chat, it's Ken said the thing is most indie or AA studios are just big companies using the titles to sell more as a marketing tool. All right, go ahead.
And I don't know that. I mean, if when they're their own company, they're not distributed by anybody. That's a hard argument to make. But nobody's in this not to make money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So everything is a marketing tool because, well, that's the world we live in.
Right.
This very podcast is a marketing tool for us. Let's be honest.
To
get more people to come watch the podcast.
Right.
So,
we are the product.
Right. We are the product, whether right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right.
But the point is,
just gonna leave this one on screen for a
companies, right? The AAA companies, these budgets have gotten so damn high, they cannot make that money back.
Right.
They just can't.
When you're talking
a lose-lose game.
When you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, when you're talking a movie budget, right, or over
sometimes we're talking over a movie budget.
I was about to say over a successful movie budget for a video game, you've gone too fucking far.
Because this is why AAA gaming is collapsing.
Yeah.
That and the live service model. The live service model has proven out what many of us have said overall, that it's really not sustainable over the long term, because you don't get enough income to justify the amount of stuff you really have to put out to keep it successful.
But the thing of it is that every single AAA video game company was chasing short-term gains for long-term failure. I said this years ago when
and they have succeeded admirably.
Exactly, they've succeeded admirably. I said this years ago when EA shifted their games from being single-player licensed story games and then a little bit of live service multiplayer games with like Battlefield and stuff like that, right? When EA started shifting their titles to focus solely on multiplayer live service bullshit, that they were going to fail. And lo and behold, I was right. I said when Ubisoft, of all fucking people, started getting into the live service game model, they were going to fail. And lo and behold, Ubisoft today announced that they're closing a UK-based studio, at least one, and they're losing 185 jobs across the company, right?
Will the market correct itself eventually?
They are downsizing Ubisoft offices in Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Newcastle. Ubisoft Reflections, they're all being downsized because here's some corpo speak for you. As part of our ongoing efforts to prioritize projects and reduce costs that ensure long-term stability at Ubisoft, we've announced targeted restructurings at Ubisoft Dusseldorf, Stockholm, Reflections, and the permanent closure of Ubisoft Limited site. A Ubisoft spokesperson said a 70-year gamer. So, look, I'm
going to correct one word in there, just for Ubisoft. You're not prioritizing projects. Oh. You're prioritizing profits.
Correct. It's
not going to work. It's a descending spiral.
I was going to say the problem is it's not going to fucking work because this is the company that said you have to get used to the idea of not owning your video games, and nobody forgot that. No one forgot it. It is still quoted in every fucking article, in everything I see. And look,
Ubisoft dug their own grave. Don't get me wrong. I won't cry a single tear when they're gone.
Well, and that's the other problem, Can, is that Ubisoft are also bigger than they can manage. They spent so many years mismanaging their company, right? They are now paying the price for it, and honestly, they should be broken up.
Company I know.
They should be broken up. They should be acquired because something has to shake it up. and make a change, because what they're doing ain't working. Look, they have they've put out wonderful titles, right? I loved The Division. I loved The Division 2. I loved Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws was my 2024 game of the year. I loved the shit out of that game. But then I loved Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 was fucking incredible. Far Cry 5
was great.
That being said,
Primal was good.
Primal was great. For every game like that they've released, they also released a fucking Skull and Bones, or they released The Crew, which is and then The Crew
or Assassin's Creed Mirage. Wait,
or what? Assassin's Creed Mirage, or fucking Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which was a awful game.
I might have to disagree with you, but
well, here, okay, time out. Let me back up a second. I was gifted a copy of that game, and I have a powerful PC. You know how powerful my PC is. My PC would not run that game at launch. I gave up. 6 months later, they told me a buddy of mine told me it was patched. I went back in. It ran a little better, but not much. And I'm like, what is going on? This is the most poorly optimized thing I've played in fucking forever.
Then there's something going on there, because I ran it on my machine, which is quite a bit smaller than yours. I mean, it's still a decent machine, but it doesn't have the same stats that yours does, and it ran fine. But then again, I'm not trying to run it in 2 or 4K on a big ass monitor. I'm running it on a 27-inch monitor in
the other thing.
40.
The other thing with Ubisoft specifically, right? And
maybe the game was just Far Cry Pandora.
Yeah, that's all it was. And I know we're shitting on Ubisoft right now, but deservedly so, because look, they had they had a solid title and a solid idea in X Defiant, and they fucked it. And that is the dumbest thing, because that game was fun. It was easy to get into. You liked it, and you don't like shooters.
And I'm not a big online shooter guy, and I was having a good time.
It is fun. The different characters and the classes. It was a great fucking idea, but they didn't know how to manage it. They didn't know how to market it. They didn't know how to sell a free fucking game.
Right.
How do you not sell a free game?
This is part of the problem too, by the way, because this live service, everything now, people expect all this free to play shit, but it doesn't work that way. These companies cannot put out something for free.
Right.
You can't, and here's the thing: expecting them to, that's on you, boo, and that's bullshit.
Yeah,
because now you're expecting, well, like our friend in the chat here, who's been in game development for 25 years. Now you're asking this person to put out a game, but they're not able to feed their family because you want the game for free. So I can't pay them.
Yep.
Because you want the product for free. So I have to make money somewhere. So now we get to the microtransaction hell.
Yep. I'm just gonna keep pointing at this on the screen.
Right? right there.
There's a reason it's still up. I'm just saying.
But it's just it's frustrating from a standpoint of just put out a good product.
Yeah, that's well. But now
the thing.
Correct me.
Mismanagement though.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They switched a lot of titles to Snowdrop. I could be wrong about that, but I read somewhere they switched a lot of their titles to Snowdrop to combat that. But you are correct. That's been a big problem for them, is that Ubisoft uses or has used several different engines, which it's really hard to shift resources around when you have to then learn a whole new engine you might not be familiar with.
Sure, that's part of the mismanagement, though.
Right.
Because
the interesting thing is
you're going in 14 different directions and nobody can pull in the same way.
Looking at some more information about the studio Ubisoft is outright closing, right? That studio used to be under ownership by Activision, right? They made the DJ Hero games. They worked on Call of Duty. They worked on Guitar Hero, right? Ubisoft bought them in 2017. Less than a decade later, they're gone.
Right.
I
I played the Jeebus out of some Guitar Hero and more than a little DJ Hero.
Oh, I still play.
I may still have that controller somewhere around here.
I still play Clone Hero on my PC, and you can go and get all the songs, and it's fucking great, man. You can even make your own ones. It's great. I love it. The thing is that
funny.
Ubisoft,
after band practices, we used to go back to the house and play Guitar Hero as a band.
Yeah, nice.
You
could say ABK knew what they were doing when they sold it. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the thing of it is like they had a great title in Star Wars Outlaws, right? And to their credit, they fixed they fixed every problem I had with that game. They probably should have just put it out that way, but they fixed every problem that they had with that game. And they actually fixed that bug where I fell through the map and was stuck. They fixed it so that can't happen.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. Expectation versus reality. Here's the thing. Not only are we into this live service hell, but we're also into this release it and fix it later bullshit.
But that's been a thing. That's been a thing.
But it's I'm telling you, it's part of the fucking problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Because now we're but it's getting worse. This is the thing. Everything that comes out now, there are so few things that when they come out, you're like, wow, this is solid. I haven't had any problems.
Yep.
We're not talking about an alpha closed beta. We're talking about, like, say, Stars Reach, which has a lot of problems right now, and I'm not under NDA for that one, so I can talk about that.
Right? Oh my God.
It's got a lot of problems. It's got a huge amount of potential. I really, really hope they get some of that worked out. Not the least of which is the screen bounce, which gives me a headache. But I don't expect that game right now. When you tell me, hey, this is my alpha project, we're in the alpha stage, I don't have a lot of expectations. If you come along and you go into early access, and here's this thing. Now they're using early access as tests, right? And and as a quick cash grab in some cases.
Well, it's the same thing we saw with.
I'm aware that investments and that stockholders and everything else drive this stuff, but that's also part of the problem.
Yeah, well,
because here's the thing, but it all goes back to what you just said. Nobody gives a shit about what happens to this company 10 years down the road.
Right.
They just want their dollar right now.
Well, there's the old adage of, thank you for all you've done for me, but what have you done for me lately? Right? And that applies to AAA gaming more now than it ever has. Because everybody we've talked on this show before about, BioWare did this and EA did this and Activision did this and they did amazing things. Well, great, but what have you done what have you done lately?
Well, and part of that though is everything that we're talking about. What they have done for me lately is release a bunch of shit.
Yeah, right.
Well, a bunch of buggy, not playable messes that then they go back to Pandora. Takes 6 months to patch it to make it mildly playable on your box. But nobody's gonna, so the next time they release a game, you're like, screw them.
Usually, because investors want the release as the promise date is passed, as it was promised. Oh yeah, promise comes. Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing of it is though, that's 100% mismanagement. I am a project manager. That is my job. I spend every day dealing with this exact type of thing, right? I work for a large, well-known company. You know the company I work for. I promise you. You know where I work.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yeah, fuck you. But I'm saying, you know where I work. If I dropped the ball...
Indie Studios.
If I dropped the ball... Like some of these companies dropped the ball, I'd be fired 6 ways to Sunday.
We see this all the time. I see, because, I currently work security for USDA in IT security, vulnerability management, and things like that. And I see this all the time in government work as well. But you just see it everywhere. Everywhere these days. You're like, if I did my job like that, I would be out in the cold.
Right. Well, and then like the interesting thing with switching off of Ubisoft for a minute and switching back over to Activision, every year a Call of Duty game comes out.
It might be the same thing.
Every year, yeah, for sure. When it's stand for right, fair. But like every every year a Call of Duty game comes out. Every year, they make millions, if not almost a billion or billions of dollars off of the one fucking game. And do you want to know what changes? Fucking nothing. They literally, I watch these Call of Duty creators have the same conversation year after year after year after year, and only now, after 5 years of watching them say the same fucking thing year over year over year over year, only now are they finally starting to go, we are fed up with this, give us something different, fix the problems we've been talking about year over year over year over year.
And now,
and especially the big thing with Call of Duty, right? They really fucked up because they decided that they were going to put out Warzone, right? The battle royale. And to its credit, when Warzone came out, I fucking loved that game. It was different, it was exciting, it was fresh, it was fun, but most importantly, it wasn't tied to anything. It was its own entity. Wow. And then they decided they're going to tie it to the new Call of Duty game every year. Well, here's the frickin' problem. The 3 mainline franchises, well, 2 really, but 3 mainline Call of Duty franchises all run off different engines.
Right.
So
but this part of the problem with that though. They release the same game.
Yep.
You know what's going to happen when they release something new? Well, that fickle little bitch we call the gaming community is going to start complaining.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it happened. It happened this year because they put the Omni movement system in, right, for Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
And everyone's
like, that's kind of cool.
Losing. It's cool. I love it. But everyone's losing their fucking minds. And it's like, you don't have to use it. You can still play the game the way you want. It's just, if somebody wants to use it, they can. Well, it's ruining the game. It's doing this. It's blah, blah. It's like, oh my God. I just...
Right. I mean, I didn't use it much because, well, frankly, I'm bad at it. But when I could, I was like, "Oh, that was cool. How the hell did I do that?"
It blows my mind. And
yeah, they want to. Sometimes I will give studios their due. Sometimes they want to innovate, but when they try to innovate, their customers bitch at them.
Well,
so they go back to what they were doing.
Here's the thing.
That becomes the death spiral.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Can, right, is that... How do I put this? Excuse me. Activision at one point publicly said that they had 10 development studios working on one fucking game. Right? One game. And I'm like, how do you have 10 studios working on one game and it still comes out to be pretty buggy and have lots of issues? It does not compute for me. Like, I understand shit can happen, right? But it does not compute for me when you come out and publicly announce, all of our studios are working on this game and it's going to be incredible and blah, 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 blah. When you come out and publicly say that, and then you fall flat on your face at release and even months beyond, and this is a yearly title you want to put out, you expect people to continue to... No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute for me. I can't make it make sense.
Right.
You can bid on the COD IP each term FY one of the dev studios.
Hang on.
Yeah, sure.
Here's the thing. We're not talking... We are certainly not discussing the devs doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because I can almost guarantee you that if the devs have their way, most of these games would look vastly different. Good, bad, or ugly, because sometimes you listen to the devs talking, you're like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Well,
quite often, they don't... The point is, quite often, they do not... Yes, they do not get what they need to deliver what they want. They are on a time crunch. They're required to do that. It's not the devs. This all goes back to how it's managed, how it's wrangled as they go along, how it's promoted, and at the end of the day, when it's released, none of that the actual devs have fuck all to do with.
Holy shit!
Don't think that we're bitching about the devs here, the actual devs. Some of my best friends are game developers, so
yeah, I was about to say,
I did enough of it to know that wasn't for me.
Some of my best friends are game developers. My colleagues at Senshudo have been game developers. Sam is a community manager right now for a game. Like, don't get me wrong. That is not where I place any of this fucking blame. I just saw this from Phoenix Labs, the guy that did Dauntless, the guys that did Dauntless and Fae Farm, right? Mm-hmm. They are reducing the majority of their studio. As they make, and I quote, unfortunate but necessary changes to their operation. So, I hate to blame the pandemic for anything, especially when it comes to this, but the pandemic caused a worldwide tech boom.
It did.
And we are still...
Some of what we're seeing now is correction to that.
We are still 5 years later seeing correction of that. That's insane to me.
Well,
that's insane
on the
to
bright
me.
side, on the bright side about that, though, to kind of play the devil's advocate about that, is what that means is we didn't have a big bubble and then the bubble burst. The bubble it's basically somebody put a pinhole in it, and that balloon has been slowly losing air for 5 years. The problem is, at this point, I think the airstream is picking up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're starting to see it more and more often. So that's. And don't get me wrong. Yes, your point that it caused a tech boom is absolutely valid, but we haven't seen the crash like we did with, like, say, the .com era.
Yeah, no,
.com crash,
yeah.
or things like that.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, is good. In a way, but we're still seeing market corrections from those times.
And at both companies that I have worked for in the past 5 years, we saw massive overcorrection of their of the overhiring and the issues that they ran into, and it just it bugs the shit out of me, because I sit here and I'm like, this isn't that hard. It really isn't that hard. I do it every day. I do it for a company that is the second or third largest entertainment and theme park company in the world. I do it every day, successfully, because I believe, right? My belief is that the experience that the end user or our theme park guests have is more important than sitting here and worrying about money, right? And that philosophy that I have has permeated the team of people underneath me, and it's permeated the people above me. The reason I got hired for my job is because in my interview, I said that I believe that the end user and guest experience means more to me than anything else, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that the people who are watching a show, playing a game, going to a theme park, going to a theater to watch a movie, whatever it is, have an experience they will go and tell somebody else about. Because that, at the end of the day, makes the money happen. And these large companies, these large video games have become so focused on profits, they forgot what it's like to just sit down and have fun playing a fucking game.
And see, that's where you're kind of wrong. They didn't forget. We've got people that are leading these companies now that have never been in the trenches. They've never done it.
That's true.
So they don't know what that feels like, because they've never done it.
Yeah.
And this is what happens, because now all they give a shit about is that number money in that spreadsheet.
Yeah,
that number in the ledger.
Yeah, exactly. All they care about is the number in the ledger.
Sure. But the thing... Lord.
Every large studio shutting down, there's a 10 times opening of smaller to mid-sized studios. Well, of course, because you see it in the
because those people get laid off and go form their own company. Because
they get laid off and go form their own company, and they make their own thing. We see it all the time.
Pantheon, all the time. Fallen.
Pantheon. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember names now, and I'm blanking on a bunch of video game names. Pantheon was one. But yeah, it just. I
don't make the mistake of thinking we don't know the industry.
Right. Yeah. I've been reporting on this industry and again sharing my opinions on the internet on this industry since 2011. Like, I've been doing this a long time. This is a second job for me at this point, right? Like, I mean, Senshudo is on my resume, has been for a decade now. But don't get me wrong. Like we understand the industry. I know that you have a lot of friends in the industry, and you have a lot of experience in. I mean, going back 30 years playing games, 40, 30, 35, 40 years
playing games. Oh shit, God, since the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, technically since the 70s, if you go back to pre-PC days.
Well, sure. I'm more talking video games specifically.
Still the 70s.
Yeah. So it's
if
like
you go back to pre-PC into just to when the original consoles were around.
Well, fair. Yeah. But like, do not mistake like our passion for blind.
That is every industry, Can. That is every single industry that has anything to do with IT. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's every.
The amount of people that get into jobs that they don't have the skill set for is kind of frightening.
Oh God, yeah. Oh man, I mean that happens everywhere.
I deal with that every single day with what I do.
Right, so for those of you again who aren't catching the live chat, Ken said, I don't want to come across as mean, but for some of the people who are being let go, they don't actually have the skill set to do the job title they currently have. That's so correct. In our recent hiring rounds, we have had highly titled people come, and there's no way they had passed mid-level requirements for today, but they were at X company for Y years, and that's why they moved up. They basically failed upwards.
That joke writes itself, and I am not going to go there.
Why not? Also, that's limits. Not everyone for sure, and to shame. Well, and that's the thing is like people put when it comes to like the managing and whatnot of these companies, it seems like once again it is an industry-wide epidemic, of it is not what you know, it is who you know. And and there are more people that will fail upwards accidentally than who are passionate and give a damn.
I see it happen all the time.
And you see it happen all the time. Yeah, all the time.
You're like, how did that person get into that job?
Right. How did that person become president of the? Oh, sorry, wrong topic entirely. But it just it bugs me. It bugs me because I know there are so many passionate people in this industry who just want to make and sell good video games, right? And I personally believe, right, that if you focus on making a good product, the money will always follow. And
that's how you get these sleeper hits, right?
Right.
That's exactly how that happens.
Look at Pal World. Look at Helldivers.
Look at Pal World. Look at Helldivers. Look at anything that's not Uber AAA or back to bitching at Ubisoft quadruple A.
Look at Enshrouded. Look at Nightingale.
Yeah.
Look at like all these games where I'm like I would sink. I lost a day playing fucking Enshrouded, like, because that game it pulled me in. I lost a day playing Valheim when we were playing that, because that pulled me in.
I lost many days playing Valheim.
Well, I mean, like, I mean, an actual day where I sat
playing like I know what you mean.
Okay,
and I'm just saying.
Okay.
I lost many a day to Valheim. I lost days to Ark. I lost days to Pal World. I lost days to No Man's Sky. I lost days and days and days to Elite Dangerous. Yeah, I mean.
Yep.
And I can make an argument. That none of that is a AAA game. Not even Elite Dangerous.
No. Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Because that is Frontier's only product.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, it definitely is not a AAA game. No. or at least if it is now, if that's what we want to call it now, it was not at release. Look at Warframe. Digital Extremes was a not known entity, and then when Warframe came out and hit it fucking huge.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect. I cannot see how anybody expected Destiny to do what it did. Halo notwithstanding.
I was gonna say. I think that.
I think there's been too many examples of companies that have this big hit and then cannot replicate that.
Yeah, fair.
And,
but here's the thing.
Shooters are fickle. Shooters may be the most fickle part of this business when it comes to that sort of thing.
Well,
and yeah,
when talking about Destiny specifically, right?
And even Destiny struggled in the beginning.
Well, they were, I think you're
Forever
right.
29.
I think you're right, Ken. I think they were Tencent funded in the background, but this is where the conversation gets interesting for me.
This is where the conversation starts to delve into conspiracy theory for me.
No, this is where things get interesting for me. Is if a game is backed by a larger company, like backed by a larger company, yet developed by a smaller company, what do you call that?
I still call it a AA game. You have a publisher. They're not the ones doing the dev. That's what I still call it. Many people will call it a game. I'm like, no. It wasn't developed by Tencent itself. They published the game. If you're talking about value, then pretty much every AAA game out now should be dropped down at A, and a bunch of AA value games moved up to AAA.
Yep.
If you want to talk about pure value for your money. You cannot beat Palworld for pure value to your money, for example. Nobody would call Palworld a AAA game. But by that criteria, and it's not a bad criteria, don't get me wrong. I could get into that, actually. And if for those, again, so I'll do that this time. What you didn't say is Can says AA or AAA depending on the value, I suppose. I could get behind that, but that's just not how it works. It tends to work more about budget and what company is putting it out.
Yeah.
But, I personally... and this is part of the problem, much like I think music is far over genrefied. I think people try to narrow down these and put things in these specific little boxes. And what it boils down to me is I don't care if it's single A, double A, triple A, 4D cells in my mom's vibrator, whatever. I don't care. Give me a good game. I'm not going to get nothing for that, huh? Are you just still going, did he just say what? I don't care. My mom doesn't watch this show. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. That you know of.
Right, that I know of. I bet we'll find out. My brother does, though. So, anyway, my point is,
I think you just scarred your brother for life. It's fine. It's fine.
I've scarred him for life years ago. And my children too. But I just don't care how many A's it has behind its name. All I want to do is play a good game. Some of my favorite games have maybe A behind it. What do you call Avorion? Single A, double A?
Doesn't matter. It's a good game.
A and a half.
Big difference between the 10 and 20 mil Stardew and try to get invested in for. Compared to the 100 to 500 for Outlaws, well, sure, that's a huge difference. But the thing of it is
still double A by any standard, right?
Yeah, like what she's in.
Well, sure, but at the same time, they have to get the money from somewhere, or else you're not going to get any product at all. But going to somebody like a Tencent or an EA or an Activision or a Blizzard or whatever to even publish your game does put some shackles on you.
Yeah.
For how many years did we think that the problem was Activision and the problem wasn't Bungie?
Right.
That one turned out to be...
Getting back to the Destiny thing for a second, I think for a long time that Destiny or Bungie floated on the success of Halo, right?
Mm-hmm.
and even launching Destiny, because Destiny felt to me, playing the game at E3 when they had their big showcase, right? When I played Destiny for the first time, I looked at Stu and I said, they've got a hit here, but it feels like modified Halo, because the gunplay was Halo.
And see, I had exactly the opposite experience. I have been on record. I am not a Halo fan. Right. I love the world. I have never dug the gameplay. I don't like the gunplay in Halo. And for me, Destiny does not feel like Halo.
But what's weird is it's the same gunplay. It's a little faster, but it's the same gunplay.
That's just it. And I can't really put my finger on it. And I'm not saying I played one Halo game and stopped. I have played every Halo game that has ever been released, hoping that I will find one. What is it? Halo 4, I think, came the closest.
You didn't like Reach? I can't believe you didn't. Everybody and their mom loves Reach, it seems like.
Yeah, well, 4 double D batteries and you're good, right? But so yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, and this is a whole other topic that we'll have to talk about at some point. When you come to the same game from different directions.
Halo is Marmite. I think you like
Halo is Marmite. Like nice.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Stu absolutely loves Halo. Stu will defend Halo to the death. Stu will defend Halo until he's blue.
Halo's a bad game.
Stu will defend Halo until he's blue in the face. Well, sure. Right,
I'm just saying I didn't like it. There are obviously I'm in a minority. I mean, you don't get a game that gets a series by not being successful. Which I love the series. I actually did. I'm one of the people that like the series.
And you know what? It's okay not to like things. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that. Right? It's okay not to like things. Yeah,
There's plenty of shit that there's lots of games that you like that I don't. Mostly in the shooter category, because I'm just not and never have been that big on Twitch shooters.
Right.
Destiny notwithstanding.
I was gonna say
Borderlands.
And then he played Destiny in Borderlands.
But that's 2 out of how many?
Well, 2 out of 1,000 ain't bad.
Right. Yeah. That's a good percentage. Well, let's see. Right now on my computer, in the shooter category, because if you've ever seen my desktop, it's all in fences.
Yeah. He's a giant nerd. He fences in his desktop.
Little bit. Yeah. That's more my OCD and ADHD coming in. But in shooters, there is Black Ice, a game that I can almost guarantee most of our audience has never even heard of, much less played.
Game.
Great little game. If you like Tron, give Black Ice a try. One called Cubed and Dangerous.
Okay.
And that's exactly it. Just for it, Ken Dunning says, I think some people think not liking it means they're saying it's bad, and that's exactly what happens. Is people like, oh, you didn't like it, you're saying it's bad. No, I'm saying I didn't like it.
Look at all the hate Jim Sterling got for giving Breath of the Wild a 7 out of 10.
Right.
And the Nintendo fans went rabid.
Rabid. Destiny 2 and MechWarrior Online, which I rarely play these days. That's the only thing in the shooter category.
Yeah.
Now, swap over to survival.
Oh God. Oh no. Oh no.
Loft, Ark, Don't Starve, Minecraft, Oxygen Not Included, Pal World, Planetaries, Terraria, Valheim, and the game that should not be named.
So what I'm hearing is that Cheeks has a survival crafting problem. Can do you want to hold an do you want to hold an intervention with me?
Base games. Avorion. No Man's Sky, Spaceborne 2, Star Trek Bridge Crew, Star Trek Online, Star Trek Bridge Commander, Star Wars The Old Republic, Starbound, Starcom Unknown, Starfleet Command, and Star Sector.
Star.
The RPG category is huge. Cyberpunk, Diablo 2, Dune Spice Wars, which technically is an RTS. Fallout 76, Mordheim, Path of Exile 2, Secret World Legends, Sir Whoop-Ass. That's a fun little game.
That's a great game.
That's a fun little game.
Sweet, I'll put the kettle on.
The Stars Reach, Moria, and the Vanguard emulator.
Yeah.
Then there's Fishing Planet, sitting over there by itself.
Sitting over excluded in the corner like a bad little boy.
I have a miscellaneous category that's got that, like Speed Freaks, my MAME emulator, Tabletop
Yeah,
Simulator.
but the question is, do you have Second Life in there?
No. I did play Second Life for a while. And I actually played Second Life. I actually played the project that led to Second Life. Which was, God, what do they call it? It was something World 3D. I can't remember at the time. But it's Second Life came out of that.
Yeah. Yep. I know what you're talking about. The name is lost on me.
It was basically just the build part of that became Second Life. Second Life got so much more, but no, I never really got too far into Second Life. I was too busy playing EverQuest, to be honest.
I mean, fair. It's EverQuest.
EverQuest is one of those games that I probably put 100 hours in before it ever actually went live. I mean, I got into beta 3, and that was it for the next years.
Yeah, right. That's why I said it.
So yeah, right.
Yeah, I've consumed a lot of content over the years about the industry and everything, and the one thing I keep coming back to is again a Jim Sterling quote that these companies, the Activision and Ubisoft and EA and Microsoft now to a larger extent and Sony, they're not happy just making money, right?
Right.
They're not happy just making money. They want to make all of the money in the world. All the money in the world. Yes, please do. That'd be wonderful, Can. They want to make all the money in the world,
absolutely.
and they will not be satisfied until they've drained every ounce of money out of your wallet, no matter how much money that is for you. And
right.
And that's a problem, and that is an good for you guys to tear it apart. If you want to hit me up on Discord, it's just Freebird, and then I can start a group chat with Cheeks.
Absolutely.
My thing is, yeah, all these companies are in it to make money, right? Like you're not a business if you're not in it to make money. You need to make money to survive. But at the same time, the other problem with that is that all of those companies I just mentioned, look at the salaries of their CEOs and their board and their C-suite, right?
And then look at the salaries of their devs.
And then look at exactly. And then look at the salaries of their game devs and tell me what's wrong with this picture.
See, this is the thing where I'm not saying it's right. It is not right. It fucking sucks. It's very wrong. But this is where that the game industry models itself off the music industry. The guys that are not doing the work are getting all the money.
Yeah.
The guys that are not doing 90% of the work are getting 99% of the money.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is a problem. It's always been a problem. Unfortunately, it will probably always remain a problem. I don't have a solution. Well, I do have a solution to that. It's just not something that people could implement. Which, as fucking horrible as it is for people to lose their jobs, as far as AAA gaming goes, let it die. It will correct itself.
Yeah.
The market will correct itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I still remember the change when this kind of thing, happened in mainstream games, and we had a business development manager coming for the first time at one of the studios I was at, and I was like, who the fuck is this? Yep. When we were building out our analytics portal, I don't know how much a lot of you guys know about the Senshudo history, right? But at one time, we were developing an analytical portal for companies like Microsoft and really anybody to use for their marketing. So the basic idea was, let's say that I'm Microsoft and I'm putting out a Halo game, right? And I want to look at and I want to do a collaboration with influencers, right? But I have no idea who the fuck to talk to, right? Because we don't play these games. We just do our job, right? It was basically a way where you could search through, you could pull up Halo, and then all of the streamers who played Halo and all the YouTubers who played Halo and who had the top audience in every game of all time, for all time. And then you find their contact information, reach out to them, etc. When we started having discussions with Twitch and whatnot, when they started trying to bring business development people in and try to like come in and try to absorb us before Amazon bought them out, that's when I knew it wasn't what we were looking for. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? We just want to sell you our product so you can do what you want with it. Yeah. So basically what it did is it would hook into Twitch's API and YouTube's API, and it would pull all the information from everything in the category. So you could see, let's say, it was incredible. It was ahead of its time. Because 2 years later, Twitch did the same thing. Being bought out by Amazon. Let's see. Straight after that, the monthly meeting started becoming what money the business was doing. Exactly. And when that focus is on the money, like, that's where you lose me.
The funny thing is, if we woke up tomorrow and Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Blizzard, whoever were gone, just suddenly gone, gaming would keep going.
Yeah. That's the
people
thing.
Would then be forced to look elsewhere, and part of the problem is people. We're like, what's like shopping at Walmart? I shop at Walmart, well, because I've always shopped at Walmart.
Right.
Walmart may not be the best place to shop anymore. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't really know. I don't think it is, because the shelves are empty most of the time. And that's what we're seeing with gaming. Ubisoft, the shelves are empty most of the time. Every so often, they'll throw an item on the shelf that's pretty good, like Outlaws. You got Blizzard, who hasn't put out a new game in forever at this point. I don't consider an expansion a new game. I mean a completely new game. They have no interest. They have no valid reason to. But that's how they got there, and then they just stagnated, and now they're stuck. And I don't think they are. Now we're getting remasters of old games, which is good, whatever. I played the Diablo 2 when I have it installed. But you got the Call of Duty every year, which is the same game. You got Madden every year, which is the same game.
Right.
So we don't talk about sports games very much.
No, because we
don't play a lot of sports games.
Well, the thing is, I love the idea of sports games. I love the idea, and I loved playing sports games when I was a kid because they were different. Each one was different, and there were 3 or 4 to choose from. Right.
Right.
In every category. Now there's
I played
one
way
or two.
more of the 2K stuff than I did.
Yeah.
Madden.
And now there's 1 or 2 of them, and they're mostly terrible. Now that being said,
right.
The new PGA 2K game looks amazing, and I cannot wait to play it. I know it's a golf game, and I think your eyes just glazed over, but
no.
But
I watch golf.
What
the fuck are you talking about?
It looks. I was talking to the viewers. Now
my wife's eyes probably glazed over.
So good.
He looks at me like, golf. I'm like, yeah.
I gotta send you the gameplay video they put out. It looks freaking gorgeous. I was like, yeah,
telling you though,
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Leaderboard Golf was the best golf game ever made, if only because of because it was one of the first ones that actually had quote air quotes. The air quotes are huge here. Talking announcers.
Yeah.
To this day, I cannot hear the phrase, "Looks like he hit the tree, Jim," without thinking of that fucking game.
Yep.
Because the announcer only had like 4 things that they said.
Yep.
That was it. But man, I played so much leaderboard golf and PGA Tour, and oh my god. But yeah, my favorite football game though, NFL Blitz, baby.
Oh god, I love Blitz.
You know, and that's the thing.
When they released the arcade, the home arcade version of NFL Blitz, that arcade 1-up one, I was like, I thought for a hot second, I was like, might need that.
PGA Tour on Mega Drive. I hear you.
Oh man, yeah.
By the way, you can actually get Leaderboard emulated on the iPad, and I played it the other day, and sure enough, looks like he hit the tree, Jim. I just I giggled for like 5 minutes.
I love it. Oh my god, that's amazing. That's amazing.
But you know, and the problem, the end result, the end all be all problem is very simple.
Yep.
Like you said from the very beginning, and we've talked about this for an hour, but the money is too big at this point.
Yeah.
Like many things, the money is too big. But in order to make that amount of money, you have to spend bigger and bigger amounts of money to make the same income. So it is, in fact, the law of diminishing returns.
Right. At what point does it become not worth it? That's
right.
The...
Wait, the Coleco football handheld, which was just the little dots, I played the crap out of that thing.
Yep.
I go back to Pong, my man. So, you know, but yeah, as a matter of fact, not even a Pong machine. I had an old Telstar Pong machine. It was one that Sears sold. Looked like an Atari 2600 console, except it had 2 paddle controllers mounted to the box. They didn't even come off, and it had 4 games, which is really just 2 games. It was Pong. It was 2 variations of Pong and 2 variations of 2-player Pong. Nice. That was it. But it was 4 games, my God. And then, of course, we had the 2600. My cousin had an Odyssey 2, where you actually had to stick the game boards, the transfers to the screen, the transparent to the screen to actually see the game, the level. Nice. Then, of course, the 2600 ruled the world for years. I had a ColecoVision, which was so cool. Controller sucked. The ColecoVision controller was like, who the hell thought that was a good idea?
Right.
It was trying to be all things to all people. It was a paddle controller, joystick, and keypad all in one little box. And it was just awkward to hold, awkward to move. But when the ColecoVision first came out, they had the actual licensed arcade version of Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Because Coleco was still publishing those games. It was before their license ran out. And man, that was like the baddest thing on the block. Because we could play real Donkey Kong as opposed to whatever passed for Donkey Kong on the 2600. Hi, Buckshot.
Yep.
But anyway, the problem. I digress. I can go on to that. That's not. We should talk about that one night, just to get off some of this serious shit that we've been talking about.
All right. Yeah.
We just need to talk about our history in gaming,
Absolutely.
how we got to where we are,
Absolutely.
what we played back in the day.
Next show.
Next show. Just so people can have some nostalgia and go, oh shit, I remember that.
Yeah, book it, guys. Next show will be our retrospective of Cheeks and Freebird and chat.
We'll just call it the nostalgia tour.
Right, exactly. Well, hold on, but you got to be careful calling it the nostalgia tour. Some bigwig up at EA might hear you and want to license it.
It's true. I'll take that licensing money. Fuck it. I'll take my piece of that pie. I mean, we're never going to get any sponsors because we shit on too much.
Right. Well, again, that was the whole point of this show, man.
Well, right. That's the whole point, was not worry about that sort of thing, and they're not. Oh man, we'll have to dig up some pictures.
Yeah, do that. You got 2 weeks to do it.
I will. You can actually still play one of my very favorite PC games, and I use the term PC game loosely. We'll call it computer game because I played it on my color computer too, which is technically not a PC. It's before the PC. It's not that. It's not an 8088 processor, which is where we begin where we actually begin PC. But you can actually still play it online. It's brutally hard, but still a whole lot of fun. But we'll talk about that next show. Yeah, we'll have to come up with some pictures. I've tried to find pictures of the old Telstar machine, and it's actually kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But anyway, to sum up, there's too much damn money. The AAA market is going to collapse.
Yep.
And I think the quicker it happens, the better.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah. I got the popcorn ready.
I am George Carlin in this situation. I am sitting back and taking notes.
Right.
But as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I say this every time we do this show, but I love doing this show. It brings me it brings me so much joy, and it brings me new perspective on games and the industry every time we do it. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Do you have any other parting words, Cheeks?
No, I just want to reiterate what you said. It's a lot of fun. Chat is always welcome.
Yeah.
Good chat tonight. Great conversation. That's kind of the point of this whole thing, is to have some interactive conversation. Differing opinions are very welcome. Just,
Absolutely.
As long as we all know we're going to talk about it, we probably won't change each other's minds. Don't get all pissy. And,
like I said,
not that anybody did. Don't misunderstand me.
Right.
This is,
absolutely.
This is the perfect thing. We can talk about this. We can have differing opinions. We can even get emotional about things and a little heated at times. But at the end of the day, roll it all back and we just go on and go play some fucking games.
Right. At the end of the day, we all love games. And that's what matters. Right. That's why we're here. But thanks again, guys. As always, I love y'all. We love y'all. And we'll speak to y'all again real soon.
Maybe next time with actual video.
Yeah, hope.
This may be the last time you see me. This might be the last gig I do. At the end of today, I may just pass away. On the other hand, it might be you.